Welcome to Unit 9. This unit is all about city life. I live in Leeds, a big city in the north of England. It's a beautiful place and I love living there because the people are really friendly. Where do you live? What's it like there?
I live in Rimini, in Italy, and it's beautiful in summer.
I live in Córdoba, which is a small city in the south of Spain.
I live in Hamburg, which is in the north of Germany, and it's very beautiful.
In this unit, you will learn how to describe cities and compare them to each other. Tokyo is bigger than Madrid. Moscow is colder than Paris. You'll also find out about one of the most amazing sights in the world, Central Park in New York. It's America's biggest and oldest city park. What do you think it's like to live at the top of a skyscraper? I'm scared of heights, so I wouldn't like it at all. In reading and speaking, you'll find out what life in the clouds is like and what some of the everyday problems are. Everyday English practices directions and the prepositions that describe how to get from one place to another, like down, past, along. Missed a class? You can go online to look at the material again and do the online activities. Are you ready? Let's get started.
(9.1) London or New York? 1,
It's on the River Thames.
2,
It was first called New Amsterdam.
3,
It's sometimes called the Big Apple.
4,
It's home to Wembley Stadium.
5,
It has 5,800 skyscrapers.
6,
The highest building is 310 meters.
7,
The people living there speak 800 different languages.
8,
Paddington Bear went to stay there.
9.2 Listen and check. 1,
London is on the River Thames.
2,
New York was first called New Amsterdam.
3,
New York is sometimes called the Big Apple.
4,
London is home to Wembley Stadium.
5,
New York has 5,800 skyscrapers.
6,
The highest building in London is 310 meters.
7,
The people living in New York speak 800 different languages.
8,
Paddington Bear went to stay in London.
9.3 Which do you prefer?
Which do you prefer, London or New York?
Well, I'm American, so of course I love New York more.
I think London's more interesting. And it's a lot bigger than New York.
True, New York is much smaller than London, but the buildings are so much taller, and for me, that's more exciting.
I guess the weather's better in New York.
Well, people think so, but it's worse than London for rain.
Really?
Nine 9.4. I think it's taller.
I think the Freedom Tower is taller than the Shard, but I think the Shard is more beautiful.
I think the Underground is more expensive than the subway, and the trains are more crowded.
There are more parks in London, and they are bigger and nicer, I think.
I think the weather in New York is hotter in summer and colder in winter. It's also wetter, but I think New York is sunnier.
I think the people in New York are friendlier, but I think Londoners are more polite.
Nine 9.5. Larry, an American living and working in London.
Well, I like both New York and London, but they're good for different things. New York is easier to walk around because it's smaller. The Underground is better than the subway. It's much nicer, but it is more expensive. Of course, there are a lot of older buildings in London, so it's kind of more interesting. And I really love the parks here. My favorite is Regent's Park, but there are so many. I read that nearly half of London is green. That's amazing. I like it here in summer. It's a lot hotter in New York, and it can get way too hot there. Winters are warmer here in London, but they're so gray. In New York, winters are colder and snowier, but sunnier. As for the people, well, generally Americans are friendlier to strangers than the British. Life is faster in New York, though, and Londoners are probably more polite.
Nine 9.6. Comparing cities. 1.
New York is older than London.
No, it isn't. New York is much more modern.
2.
Tokyo is cheaper than Bangkok.
No, it isn't. Tokyo is much more expensive.
3.
Amsterdam is bigger than Paris.
No, it isn't. Amsterdam is much smaller.
4.
Johannesburg is safer than Cape Town.
No, it isn't. Johannesburg is much more dangerous.
5.
The traffic in Mexico City is better than in Sao Paulo.
No, it isn't. It's much worse.
9.7. A Brit in New York.
So, Gemma, you're British, but you live in New York, yes?
Yes, that's right. I'm from Manchester.
And, here in New York, do you live on your own?
No, I'm here with my husband, Luke. We both come from Manchester.
I see. And have you both got jobs here?
Yes, I've got a really good job. I work for a fashion company.
Oh, great. And has Luke got a good job too?
Yes, he's got a wonderful job. He's a gardener, and he works in Central Park.
Wow, nice place to work. So where do you live? Have you got an apartment?
Yes, we've got a lovely apartment in Brooklyn. We take the subway to work.
So you haven't got a car here?
No, we haven't. We had a car in Manchester, but here we go everywhere on public transport. It's much easier. The traffic's terrible in New York.
I know. Well, thanks for answering my questions. Have a nice day.
9.8. Have got. 1,
I've got a nice car.
2,
We've got 3 children.
3,
He's got a business in South London.
4,
Have you got a lot of friends?
5,
How many brothers and sisters have you got?
6,
I haven't got any brothers. I've got a sister called Emily.
7,
Jack hasn't got a sister.
8,
Have we got any homework today?
(9.9) New York's Central Park.
Central Park is one of the most amazing sights in the world. An enormous swimming pool of green surrounded by skyscrapers. Central Park is America's oldest and biggest city park and the most popular. It appears in more than 350 movies. It's busiest on Sundays, with nearly 250,000 visitors, so try and find a quieter time to visit. Here's a guide to some of the best things to see. Bow Bridge is one of the most beautiful old iron bridges in the world. Perhaps you recognize it. It's the most popular movie location in the park. The Carousel is the largest in North America. With its 58 brightly colored horses, it's obviously a favorite with children. Woolman Ice Rink. The most wonderful thing you can do on a winter's evening is go ice skating here. You can skate to the music under the skyscrapers and stars. Cleopatra's Needle is definitely the oldest thing in the park. It's from Egypt and is 3,500 years old. Belvedere Castle is the highest point in the park, so you can get the best views from here. Strawberry Fields is a garden named after one of the most famous Beatles songs. John Lennon lived and died in New York. The Imagine mosaic here is in memory of him.
(9.10) It's the biggest. 1,
The tallest building in Europe is the Federation Tower in Moscow. It's 374 meters.
2,
The most expensive hotel in London is the Lanesborough. The Royal Suite there costs £27,000 per night.
3,
The world's biggest car park is at the West Edmonton Mall in Canada. It has 20,000 spaces.
4,
The most popular tourist attraction is the Las Vegas Strip. It has 40 million visitors a year.
5,
The hottest city in the world is Awaz in Iran. The highest temperature ever reached there was 54 degrees centigrade.
6,
The oldest city is Jericho in the Palestinian territories. It dates back 11,000 years.
Living in a big city can be a great experience. Some of the world's biggest cities, like Beijing in China and Delhi in India, are exciting places to live and to visit. These cities have got huge populations, many beautiful historic buildings, and some interesting modern architecture too. But like many big cities, they are very crowded, and they've got problems with traffic and pollution. People didn't think about cars when they built them. Other cities, like Copenhagen, the capital city of Denmark, and Auckland, on the North Island of New Zealand, are much smaller. And they are famous for being great places to live, with a very high quality of life. These cities are clean and safe, but they are also very expensive. Whether they are big or small, cities can be amazing places to live and visit. Which kind of city do you prefer? Paris, the capital city of France, is in the north of the country, on the River Seine. With a population of around 2.2 million, Paris is the largest city in France. It is also one of the most popular cities in the world for tourists. Around 22 million visitors come to the city every year. The best time to visit Paris is in the summer. The city can get very crowded, but generally it isn't too hot. The average summer temperature is only 25 degrees Celsius. Paris is famous for its cafes, its fashion, and its amazing architecture. And it's easy to see why people want to visit this beautiful and historic city. This is the Musée d'Orsay, on the left bank of the River Seine. When this building opened in 1900, it was a busy train station. Today, it is a very important art museum, and it has sculptures and paintings by famous artists like Van Gogh, Monet, and Renoir. While there aren't any skyscrapers in the center of Paris, it has got one of the most famous tall structures in the world, the 324-meter Eiffel Tower. The tower opened in 1889. It took just over 2 years to build. And for over 40 years, it was the tallest structure in the world. Today, it's the busiest tourist attraction in the city, with more than 7 million visitors every year. You can climb to the top, but there are 1,665 stairs. So most people take the lift. And you can get the best views of this wonderful city from the top. "5,000 kilometers from Paris, in the United Arab Emirates, is the city of Dubai. It's the biggest city in the region, and it's got a population of around 2.9 million. The city is on the Dubai Creek, which is always busy with water taxis full of local residents, and some of the 3 million tourists who visit the city every year. There are old parts of the city, but today Dubai is most famous as a modern city full of skyscrapers. There are already 18 buildings over 300 meters tall in the city center. Tourists come here to see the Burj Al Arab, the world's most luxurious hotel. It's got 202 bedrooms, and the most expensive room is over $24,000 a night. Dubai is also famous for having one of the world's tallest structures, the 828-meter-tall Burj Khalifa. It's got 211 floors and over 24,000 windows. But in the summer, it is far too hot to spend time outdoors, looking at the fantastic modern architecture of Dubai. The average temperature in July is 44 degrees Celsius. So, the most popular attractions in the city are indoors, where the temperature is much cooler. And the biggest attraction of all is the Dubai Mall. The Dubai Mall is one of the largest shopping centres in the world. It has got over 1,200 shops, and 750,000 people visit the mall every week. Shops sell everything, from expensive clothes and jewellery to electronics. But there's also a lot to do and see for visitors who don't want to shop. Inside the mall are 22 cinema screens, a beautiful aquarium, and even an Olympic-sized ice rink, which is definitely the coolest place in this spectacular modern city.
(9.11) Sat-nav directions.
Continue along George Street, past the Bristol Hotel and over the bridge. At the roundabout, take the first exit on the left and drive down Park Hill. In 200 yards, at the junction, turn right onto Bagley Wood Road. Continue up the hill along Bagley Wood Road and through the wood. Drive under the railway bridge and the destination is on your right. Sherford Petrol Station.
(9.12) Directions. 1.
Go along George Street, past the hotel and over the river. Turn right at the roundabout. Go along Lake Road with the lake on your left, and then take the first turning on the left onto Station Road. Keep going along Station Road and you'll see it in front of you. The road stops there, so you can't miss it.
2.
Continue along George Street. At the roundabout, take the third exit onto Lake Road. Continue along Lake Road. In 100 yards, at the roundabout, turn left onto High Street. Continue along High Street and drive under the bridge. The destination is on your right.
3. Go over the bridge and when you come to the roundabout, follow the sign to the town centre. You'll come to another roundabout and you want to go straight over that one and drive into Town Hall Square. Keep left, past the statue, and take the road on the left, where there's traffic lights. You'll see it on your right, and there's a car park opposite, on your left.